Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is From the Heart, featuring none other than the Juan-and-Only, and in particular and in specific, Juan M. Andrade. We are here in the heart of Hammond, Indiana, at the Area Career Center, and today we have a very special guest with some special talents that are made for TV. But before we go on, I want to say a special congratulations to all the students at the Area Career Center Multimedia Department, because I understand that the students at the Multimedia Department here at the Area Career Center in Hammond, Indiana, were the winners of the Skills USA Indiana State Champions for television video production for the year of 2018. So on that note, congratulations to all the students for the Multimedia Department under the leadership and directorship of Miss Stephanie Reiser. On that note, to my very left, I have a beautiful young lady here who has very special talents that for the second part of our 30-minute program, she's going to be doing some actual demonstrations. And you know what? I just happened to find a very special friend today that said yes. Not to some questions that may come to your mind when people say yes, but about being a demonstratee, I guess, who will be a recipient of some of the special talents that my special guest has here today in reference to she's actually a certified hypnosis or hypnotist. So I have here to my very left none other than Miss Randi Light, and she is a certified hypnosis instructor. She is an author. She is a peak performance coach, and a whole lot more. So Randi, welcome to From the Heart.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and congratulations to everybody who won for this.
Very good. And as you can see right behind us, she brought a whole bunch of items that I think are part of her work in a large PR product here that I'm sure we can all use to help promote our businesses. And speaking about promoting our businesses, I see that you have been in this business, I guess, for 35 years. But Randi, you know, before we talk about what you actually do for 35 plus years or so, what would you like to tell our listeners, and well, not listeners, but our viewers, because we are on TV, I do have a radio program, but what would you like to tell our viewers in terms of a little bit about yourself that has nothing to do with what we are going to talk about today? Something that you would like to share with our viewers.
Well, that's an interesting question.
Yes.
Well, besides that, for the past 10 years, I've been hypnotizing thousands of children and adults.
Nothing has to do with it today.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I'm thinking.
Okay.
That was my lead into thinking.
Yes.
And well, I have a master's degree in environmental education. So for 20 years as an adult, I taught people to love and care for the earth, and that was my job, and it was a wonderful job, and that was my paid job, but my volunteer work was doing healing work. Okay.
So are you somewhat like an environmentalist also, or not really?
I call myself an environmental educator, not necessarily an environmentalist.
Okay. And well, thank you very much then. So you know what? I see, like I said, one of the things that you do is write books, being an author. How many books have you written?
Well, I've written one official book. It's actually a training manual.
Okay.
But I also wrote what I call handbooks or guidebooks for my clients. So when people come to work with me, they can keep track of what they're learning and reinforce some of the things that they experience so that they can remember it and feel good. Okay.
So in terms of the books that you've written have to do with what you do here in terms of a career in hypnosis and so forth? Okay. Are those books online or anything to that effect? Okay.
Yes, you can get them at my website or at Amazon, The Essential Four. But it's actually a training manual for hypnotists. But it's actually 4 sessions that I believe virtually every person on the planet would benefit from going through.
Okay. And who should buy those books or get those books?
Well, right now that book is really for hypnotists. It's not for just anyone who.
Not for the general public.
Not for the general public.
Okay.
That's in the process.
Okay. All right. So I see here that, well, you know what? how do you get to become a hypnotist? What kind of training do you have to do? What kind of education are you supposed to have?
Well, that's a great question, because not that long ago, 4 or 5 years ago, Indiana had some really interesting and strange laws. That you actually had to do 500 classroom hours. I had to do 500 classroom hours to get certified. But somewhere along the line, all the laws changed in Indiana. So when I train people to become hypnotists, they have to do 150 hours. It's through the International Hypnosis Federation. And so that's different. They have to do 150 classroom hours. I feel like the 500 was a little much. But 150 really will get you somewhere. But they're separated into 3 different trainings. So right now, it depends on who is the governing body, but it's somewhere around 150 hours to get certified. But you can start in Indiana. You can hypnotize anybody right now.
Okay. So where did you actually go for the education part?
Well, it was interesting. I was a massage therapist, but I needed something to help people heal that didn't use my body, because it was hurting, because I had been a gymnast. And so massaging was just a little much for me. So I was looking through this magazine, and there was this place in Illinois that I could go to that I could do for 2 12-hour days. For about the same amount, I could go to a hypnotist and get a private session. So I did that. I didn't even know what hypnosis was used for. I didn't even know that it had these amazing benefits. But after that, then I eventually went with Tim Scher. I got trained with Tim Scher, and he was actually in Maryville at the time at the Hypnotism Academy of Indiana. So I was his only student. This was 10 years ago, and so he trained me. I also had the training at the Lightegger Institute, and then I hypnotized his clients over and over and over. So when I was done, I was a really confident hypnotist when I opened up my own business.
Okay. So you've been doing this for about 35 years, according to you, or for how long, more or less?
So I've been a hypnotist and have my own business for 10 years.
Okay.
As far as using hypnosis as the healing modality to help people get from where they are to where they want to be. But I have been like I was mentioning earlier, I've been in the healing field. I mean, actually, if we go back, when I was in 5th grade, that's one of the first times I remember ever doing some type of healing work, or wanting to do, really. I was in 5th grade, and I would go to my best friend's house, and her brother was autistic. And instead of playing with my friends, I would try to get him to talk.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a little girl, and I spent a lot of time trying to get him to talk. And I didn't have the tools back then, but it was interesting to think about that. Instead of playing with my friends, sometimes I would go and do whatever I thought I could do to help him.
Now, when you got individuals that are studying to be a doctor, they go through the residency program and so forth. Do hypnotists go through something similar to that?
There's different programs where you can do internships. Absolutely.
Right,
okay. So I'm an instructor, so you will be hypnotizing other students, people off the street, and my clients. So you'll get a lot of practice. Okay. You need to have practice. And it's funny that you bring up doctors. Back in the 1950s, the American Medical Association said that every doctor should have hypnosis training. But it took a different turn.
Why is that?
Because it's so effective for change and for healing. Right now, there's so much research, and you can find out in different places, but people actually have surgery without anesthesia, and they're in hypnosis, and they don't have any pain.
Okay. Let me say this while you just brought this up right now. I really think for medicine to move forward to another level, because you have medical medicine, I guess if you could say, you have, like you just mentioned, hypnosis, you have holistic medicine or healing. I think all of that should be brought together, so any future doctors should know all of that, because sometimes ordinary regular medicine doesn't work, and maybe holistic medicine might work, or maybe hypnosis might work, or whatever the case may be. So I think it wouldn't hurt if we had future doctors learn all of this so they can use what may be best for that individual patient.
Yeah, in my community where I live, I've told all the kids growing up that have become doctors that that I will hypnotize them. I want them to experience hypnosis so they know what it feels like and know the benefits. So I've done some sessions with them, and I'd love to go into and share with doctors. I know doctors send me clients, you know, people that, you know, their patients that they, they're difficult patients, they send them to me so I can help them.
Okay. How have you enjoyed being a hypnotist and in that field?
It's been a fascinating, wonderful journey. I have over a 90% success rate with so many different things like feelings of anxiety and depression, and for insomnia and pain too, as well. And I do everything to create peak performance, and I also work a lot with athletes. So when a swimmer shaves off 2 seconds at a 50-meter swim at the state meet, you know, I get these testimonials. That's amazing. 2 seconds. I had no idea that the processes I was doing would have that kind of benefit, let alone people who have not slept in 15 years start sleeping. It's a very rewarding profession, and it's fun, and it's always changing. Everything's changing. You know, what I'm doing is changing. I'm always learning. Hypnotists are some of the most fun people. I travel all over the country going to different conferences.
Okay.
And so they're really fun, they're really confident, and they're so much brilliance. So I'm always learning.
Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back after we have our station break. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, and I hope you enjoyed the PSA that we had just at our station break here on From the Heart, featuring none other than the Juan-and-Only. And to my very left, we have Miss Randi Light, who is a certified hypnotist, author, peak performance coach, and a whole lot more. So we're going to be continuing our conversation with Randi right here and right now. And Randi, I understand too that when it comes to hypnosis, you've not only hypnotized adults, but you've also hypnotized children. Let me ask you this: what is the youngest child you've ever hypnotized, and why would you hypnotize any children?
Well, I think it was a 5-year-old. If I remember correctly, she was coming in. First of all, she had some anxiety, and she was not wanting to go to school. She was having trouble. There were some things happening at school that was making her feel uncomfortable, and so she was doubting herself. And so 5 years old, but I actually have a lot of clients and young adults, kids that come in for that. They're not confident. I've had a 9-year-old that came in because her tests, you know, she was getting scared and freezing up before she would take her test. So I hypnotized her. She felt so much more confident. Hypnosis is a normal, natural, common, everyday occurrence, and anyone who has above 70 IQ can be hypnotized. You just need to be able to focus, and really smart people do great in hypnosis. So a 5-year-old basically, in some ways, actually lives in hypnosis because their brainwaves are cycling in alpha, and alpha is a light state of hypnosis. And they're very imaginative, and you know how that is. And so it's really easy to hypnotize them. Actually, in a lot of ways, kids and anyone under 25 is a lot easier than adults in some ways. I mean, pretty much every person who's come to my office, the thousands of people, has been hypnotized. But kids or young adults do a lot better because their conscious analytical minds don't get in the way. They just go with it more.
So when you're going through your education part and training to be a hypnotist, what kind of classes do you take? What are some of the subject matter?
So, okay, well, if you're going to come to me, if you want to become a hypnotist and you want this career, I'm going to teach you all about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, the laws of the mind, how to mentally rehearse, be your best version of yourself, and actually really get into what hypnosis is, but teaching you how to do what's called an induction. An induction is a way a hypnotist guides someone into hypnosis. Now, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis, so I'm actually just the guide. So if I were to hypnotize you or even teach you, either way, you're allowing me to guide you into a focused and relaxed state of hypnosis where you're more open and receptive. So you'll learn inductions and you'll learn techniques. I am very technique-oriented, so in the second part of the show, right, I'm going to hypnotize someone, and I do different techniques. I want them doing things. I also teach my students to deliver suggestions in a positive way, because research says that a suggestion given in a hypnotic state, even one time, can have the same effect as long-term conditioning and practice. One time. But we have 60,000 thoughts a day. So whether you're my client or my student, what are you doing with your 60,000 thoughts? Are you reinforcing new neural pathways and new habits of being calm and confident, or is like a sabotaging part of you coming in? So then we deal with the sabotaging part as well. So I don't know if that answered your question. I teach them inductions, specific techniques. I do also teach a lot of NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. Those are great techniques that you can use in hypnosis or not hypnosis that are fast and effective change agents. And I think it's important to explain what hypnosis is.
What is it?
So hypnosis is a focused state of awareness. It's a focused state of concentration where you're more open and receptive. And it's also a normal, natural, common, everyday occurrence. You literally go into hypnosis many times a day. When you are watching TV, 2/3 of the time you are in hypnosis. I kind of like to think of hypnosis as meditation with a goal. So we just have a goal, we have a purpose. And as a hypnotist, I'm guiding you. If you're doing meditation, then you might just try to just be in the state. But as a hypnotist, or even if you're doing self-hypnosis, or I'm doing self-hypnosis, I will guide myself into this relaxed and focused state. It's a brainwave state. So when we're active and thinking and moving, our brainwaves are cycling in beta, and that's like 13 to 39 cycles per second. But whenever you get focused on a book or a movie or a project, your brainwaves slow down and they go into alpha. And alpha is a light state of hypnosis or a light state of meditation. Alpha is the zone where athletes and performers perform their very best. You know, we want to be in the zone when we're on TV, right? But if your brainwaves continue to slow down, they go from beta down into alpha, down into theta. And theta is just a deeper state of hypnosis or a deeper state of meditation. It's a very healing state. But as our brainwaves continue to slow down, they go beta, alpha, theta, and into delta. And delta is sleep. So you literally go through hypnosis when you're going to sleep and when you wake up in the morning.
Let me ask you this, because one of the things that you have listed on your bio, so to speak, peak performance coach. So is there hypnosis involved in that, or not?
Absolutely. Anything.
Can I ask you this then?
Sure.
Why would hypnosis be a part of someone who wants to, I guess, just using your words right here, be at a higher level of performance? Wouldn't that just include possibly more exercise, eating right, thinking positive, as opposed to maybe being hypnotized?
Well, that's an interesting question. Yeah. So you're talking about life in and of itself. So I have plenty of people come to me who want help eating right and they want motivation to exercise more. What's in their way? They've hypnotized themselves to believe they don't like certain foods, or that they have to eat this much, or that they don't like exercise. So in some ways, I'm actually dehypnotizing. We're programming and reprogramming and reframing. But people, I work with a lot of people who've had a lot of childhood traumas. I work with PTSD, and PTS now is what they call it. But there's been plenty of people who have been abused as children. And for example, people there's a statistic out there that says like 80% of overweight women have been sexually abused. And so they are going to possibly use food to stuff down that emotion and to protect them. And so you have to deal with the root cause and help that little child that went through that experience, because your subconscious mind, so hypnosis is a bridge or a doorway to your subconscious mind.
Okay.
Your subconscious runs all your bodily functions. It can process 400 million bits of information in 1 second, every second, right? You don't have to tell your heart to beat or your immune system to do its thing. So that's an amazing thing. Your conscious analytical mind that you're using right now, you know, you're looking, you're listening, you're analyzing what I'm saying, and anybody can accept or reject what I'm saying. That's all your conscious analytical mind. But hypnosis is a bridge or a doorway to your subconscious, and your subconscious can do so many more things. But your subconscious mind has stored every single thing that's ever happened to you. Every single thing that's ever happened to you is stored in your subconscious, in your nervous system, in your body, even when you were in your mother's womb. So, but here's the thing. Even though that's really powerful, your memories get stored there from the perspective of the age you are when the event takes place. So a 4-year-old's version of the world is very different than a 10-year-old, 20-year-old, 40-year-old, 60-year-old. So if your parents took your siblings or your cousins somewhere and you're 4 years old and they didn't take you, you could decide right there, you could draw a conclusion that something's wrong with you or they love them more, you're not good enough. And it literally forms a neural pathway, a belief, a program in the subconscious. And then your thoughts or other events can reinforce this limiting belief. And people can be fine for a while until something actually turns on that unresolved childhood issue. Well, hypnosis is a bridge or a doorway to your subconscious. So we have access to every single thing that's ever happened to you, and we can help that little you, and we can program and reprogram, because people create beliefs that may be true or may not be true.
Okay. Let me ask you this. Do you remember the very first person you worked on hypnotizing? Do you remember that case at all? Not really?
No.
Not really. Okay.
I remember a few people that I hypnotized when I was working with Tim's clients. But I mean, so I can probably still answer the next question you're going to ask.
Is there a superstar in the field of hypnosis?
There's many.
There's many superstars.
Many, 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 many.
Okay.
And in the second segment...
Okay, let me ask you this then. What do you consider a superstar in the field of hypnosis? They are a superstar because of what?
Well, I've just been at 2 different conferences in the last couple weeks. I've just been at 2 different conferences. One was in HypnoBiz, New York. Okay. And I presented there, and there were millionaire hypnotists there. So I feel like...
Okay, so go ahead. Oh, okay. Go ahead and continue.
So I was, last weekend, I was at HypnoBiz, New York, and it's a conference. So it's an inaugural conference, and it brought in world-renowned hypnotists from all over the world to present and to share their business strategies. Okay. I shared peak performance strategies because we have to have the mechanics and the mindset. What I think of as people, some of the greats today are people who are innovators and have great success rates and make a lot of money.
Okay, that's good. So, you know, we are going to be going to the second part of our program, and it will be at the second part of our program that we're going to be doing some actual demonstrations. We have a dear friend of mine who said yes, that I would like to be a participant and actually be hypnotized. So this is From the Heart, featuring none other than the one and only, that's me. And we are speaking with Randi Light, who is a certified hypnotist, author, and a whole bunch of other stuff here. So where are we at on our program here, Mr. Floor Director? Are we still going, or what's the story here? Okay, so I guess we're going to wrap it up right now. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please stay tuned for the second part of From the Heart. Thank you.